shout out goes out to our current channel members. If you were interested in picking up a channel membership for as little as $1.99 a month, head over to my channel profile and hit the join button to view all of the available perks. Thanks. Hello there everyone and welcome back to the channel today for a brand new video. In this video, I thought it would be quite interesting to discuss something that you may have easily missed from episode 16, and the things you may have missed that I want to discuss here today come in the form of subtle parallels to scenes and moments in older Ninjago seasons. Now, episode 16 saw the Overlord, or the Crystal King, whatever you want to call him, being brought back to the real world, if you want to call it that, by a ritual of sorts. All of the golden weapons were gathered, and Asphera reads out some form of spell, similar to what you may have found in Season 4 or Season 8, which we will be getting onto in just a moment. And yeah, she reads out a kind of spell of sorts, with a load of random words. And the Overlord is free from wherever he was trapped. Yes, he just kind of had his energy trapped inside a crystal of sorts. Not too sure exactly, but from what we saw on screen, that was what happened. And this spell allowed the Overlord to transcend into the real world. He gained a real body, and he came out of the crystal, and, well, that was it. He presumably entered into the real world, and that was it. Very, very interesting, because, well, where else have we seen a ritual? Season 8, when Harumi brings back Garmadon. But this parallel isn't just because it's a ritual. I mean, that wouldn't really be a parallel, in my personal opinion. However, I think what makes it a parallel is just what this scene overall looks like visually. So, for example, we have Asphera reading out the spell, very similar to what Harumi did. We have all of the golden weapons in this circle, kind of floating around in the air, similar to what happened with the Oni masks in Dread on Arrival, if you guys remember that episode. And with all of these random words, and it also then spells the means for the main villain of the season at the time to exit and come into the real world from wherever it was they were trapped before. And so all of these things come together and create a really nice parallel, in my opinion. Now, obviously, this isn't an exact parallel. I mean, there are definitely some tweaks and changes. In fact, probably quite a lot of tweaks and changes. But overall, I think it does extremely resemble a parallel of sorts. And I think that it just about qualifies to be an actual parallel. And I think that was really, really cool, to be honest. It's a very similar setup, and it especially works even more well, in my opinion, because Harumi was the one behind both of these different rituals. And I think that alone makes it even more of a parallel than it already was. And I'm a big fan of that. I'm really glad they did this kind of callback in this way. I think it works really well. It's very subtle, but I mean, if you're kind of thinking about it, then you can definitely realise how similar it really is, without being in your face similar, if that makes any kind of sense. But that's not all, because there is another slight parallel I'd like to quickly touch on here, and that is that it's very similar to what happens in Season 2, when the ninja first go to the Temple of Light, the ninja gain their elemental blades and their new suits, and Lloyd gains his green energy type power. And it's very similar to that overall. I mean, there are two images that you're seeing up on screen right now to kind of cement this parallel in place and give you guys an idea of what I'm really talking about here. You guys can, well, probably see where I'm coming from with this. Maybe this one's a little bit more of a stretch in terms of if it's an actual parallel or not. But either way, intentional or not, I think that it's really nice, and it serves as a really awesome callback to both of these two moments from Seasons 8 and Season 2. And I can really appreciate that, because they're not really in your face, completely identical, but at the same time, they are pretty similar, and once you make the connection, you know, it becomes fairly obvious. These scenes are very, very similar, and I can really appreciate that about episode 16. I'm really glad they were able to fit these kinds of parallels into this episode. I think it was really, really well done and really well thought out. But with all of this being said, I just really wanted to make this video to touch on this. Nothing crazy, but I thought it might be very interesting to some of you guys watching. So for that, I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to drop a like on it, subscribe for more, and hit that notification bell so that you can stay up to date on all things Ninjago, and just watch my new content whenever I do post it right here on the channel. With all of this being said, I'll see you all soon for my next one. Goodbye.